Welcome back, babes. It's your weekend spiral. So welcome back to another episode of the Daily Gossip Recap. And babes, I have to tell you, the Real Housewives have been messy today.
Oh, they woke up and just completely chose chaos today. It
Yeah.
is honestly, it's a structural collapse of PR training across multiple networks.
I am literally vibrating with an ungodly amount of caffeine right now.
Yeah.
And just utter disbelief at what is currently radiating from our timelines.
Right. It's too much. I opened my phone this morning and immediately felt the urge to hire a crisis management firm for my own life just by proxy.
No, totally. Which is precisely why the salted caramel frappes are officially on deck. And babes, if you haven't tried one yet, we need you to run to McDonald's immediately.
It is a critical assignment, truly.
I am deeply, profoundly attached to this specific beverage. I have it sitting right here next to me, sweating through the plastic cup, and it is honestly the only thing tethering my soul to my physical body in the studio today.
Well, operating in my capacity as a highly critical, unofficial beverage reviewer for the modern age, I have to concur. There is a fascinating phenomenon regarding the fast food frappe.
Oh, Guto.
By all culinary logic, it shouldn't hold this much power over us, but McDonald's is secretly carrying society emotionally right now.
It literally is.
It serves as this highly accessible, high-sugar, load-bearing pillar for the working class.
It does. And we have to talk about the seasonal science of it, too.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact chemistry, but these drinks taste exponentially better the second the weather hits 80 degrees.
Oh, absolutely. The healing power of artificial caramel and crushed ice reaches its absolute zenith in the summer.
We just sit here, sipping through our little straws, entirely pretending this frappe is some kind of luxury iced coffee moment.
Yeah.
We were lounging outside a cafe in Milan rather than staring down ring lights while analyzing Bravo lawsuits.
Yeah, it's a required coping mechanism. We elevate the drive-through beverage to a luxury experience because, honestly, we desperately need the dopamine hit before we process the unhinged behavior we're about to study.
We truly do. We need the sugar.
The blending of the ice, the synthetic perfection of the syrup, it grounds the nervous system. We need that sensory anchor.
Right. And just to put this on the official record, you guys, we are not sponsored by McDonald's. We are simply public servants spreading awareness.
Just doing our civic duty.
Exactly. Because you all need to be properly fortified for what we are about to unpack today.
Fortification is mandatory. The reality TV gods absolutely fed us this morning. It is an absolute feast of collapsed alliances, questionable real estate maneuvers, and profound delusion.
A veritable buffet of bad choices. And I want to set the table for the Snark Squad right now. If you are here for celebrity gossip, the Daily Spill episode is waiting. If you are here for messy reality television stars, babes, you're in exactly the right place.
The exact right place.
Yeah.
Because the Housewives chaos and the broader Bravo mess today, it's completely unprecedented.
I am so deeply invested in the absolute refusal of these people to lead quiet, peaceful lives. Why can't they just chill?
Well, when you step back and view it as a cultural study, reality television is essentially carrying modern society.
Oh, 100%.
These franchises act as a massive pressure valve for the public consciousness. We sit on our couches and watch these incredibly wealthy, highly produced individuals make the most catastrophic life choices imaginable.
It provides a fascinating contrast, right? Suddenly, our own daily struggles, like paying a parking ticket, dealing with a difficult coworker, they feel incredibly manageable compared to a $25 million federal lawsuit.
Precisely. It operates perfectly as the modern Colosseum. But instead of gladiators with swords, we have women in extremely expensive couture throwing low-blow insults over perceived slights from 3 seasons ago.
It is genuinely therapeutic. My life might have its stressful moments, but at least I am not currently explaining my offshore bank accounts to a judge while wearing a heavy contour and a confessional gown.
Right. The psychology of why the viewer cannot look away is entirely rooted in that sharp contrast. The immense financial privilege mixed with their total inability to regulate their own nervous systems.
Messy television heals us because it provides a closed ecosystem. We get to judge the drama, analyze the fallout, and pick sides without absorbing any real-world consequences ourselves. It's brilliant.
It really is.
And speaking of regulating our nervous systems, we need to give a massive shout-out to our producer, Allison, because she walked through the door this morning and performed an actual miracle.
An absolute hero.
She brought apple strudels to the studio this morning.
Which I immediately categorized as essential hazard pay.
Obviously.
If my job requires sifting through hundreds of pages of a reality star's bankruptcy filing before 10 a.m., A high-quality carbohydrate is the bare minimum compensation required to maintain my sanity.
I was literally on the verge of tears reading some of these court documents, and then I took a bite of flaky, cinnamon-laced apple goodness. Suddenly, the clouds parted.
The healing properties of butter.
I am immensely grateful for baked goods. And before anyone in the comments calls us out, yes, Vegetarian Week is continuing somehow.
Technically,
We are basically sustaining our entire biological existence on bakery snacks right now. They are making these workdays survivable, and frankly, apple desserts are the elite tier of the pastry pyramid.
sugar, flour, and butter technically fall under the vegetarian umbrella. It's a magnificent nutritional loophole we are fully exploiting.
Thank us for supporting our vegetarian delusion. We are health icons, honestly.
Naturally.
But while I was sitting here munching on my strudel, scrolling through my feed, I came across something that completely shattered my pastry-induced peace. We saw a Facebook reel this morning from a delivery driver, and he was venting to the camera.
Oh, that video. Yeah.
He was exhausted, complaining about delivering heavy items to residential homes.
The visual of the modern gig economy in stark, unfiltered reality. He was specifically detailing the agonizing process of moving bed frames, modular couches, giant packages out of a standard delivery van.
My heart just sank. I felt this overwhelming wave of sympathy for the guy. You could see the physical toll on his face.
It's brutal.
It is, and it sent me into a massive internal debate. Should we actually be ordering heavy furniture online? Is it inherently unfair to expect one human being who isn't given a partner or specialized moving equipment to lug a 90-pound disassembled credenza up 3 flights of apartment stairs?
That is the core friction of modern supply chains. We have fundamentally broken the social contract of delivery expectations.
Wait, explain that. How did we break it?
Well, look at the mechanics of how commerce has shifted. A decade ago, if you purchased a sofa, you went to a brick-and-mortar furniture showroom. They utilized a specialized 2-person delivery team.
Right, with the big trucks.
Exactly. They had dollies, back braces, moving blankets, and a truck with a hydraulic liftgate. That cost was baked into the furniture price, or added as a massive delivery fee.
But now, you click a button on your phone at 2 in the morning because you saw an aesthetic velvet accent chair on TikTok, and 3 days later, a regular parcel driver is expected to single-handedly maneuver a giant box to your doorstep.
Yes. And the consumer demands free 2-day shipping on an oak dining table. To fulfill that promise, companies force oversized freight into the standard parcel network.
And why does every online order suddenly weigh 90 pounds? Even when I order something seemingly small, the cardboard box is incredibly dense. The packaging alone adds 10 pounds.
The parcel companies accept the contracts because the volume is lucrative, but the physical burden of that logistical nightmare is transferred entirely onto the spine of an underpaid worker.
Are these massive retail companies exploiting the drivers by bypassing the traditional freight system? It feels like it. The convenience culture has completely detached us from the physical reality of how goods travel.
We just want the magic trick.
We do. We want to open the door and see the box sitting perfectly on the welcome mat, but there is a human being sweating, straining, and risking a herniated disc to make that magic trick happen. And I feel tremendous guilt every time a truck pulls into my driveway now.
It creates a fascinating ethical paradox. If the public collectively stops ordering heavy items online, the parcel volume drops, routes are consolidated, and drivers lose their jobs.
Oh God, you're right.
If we continue ordering, their physical bodies deteriorate from the unnatural repetitive strain. There is no clean ethical consumption in this specific logistics model.
We genuinely want opinions on this from you guys because, honestly, we are conflicted. Is it part of the job? Do you tip them extra? Do you run out to the driveway to help them lift it?
The guilt of the supply chain is real.
It is weighing heavily on me today, which is precisely why I took aggressive measures to fix the energy in this room. We officially redecorated the studio for summer.
Oh, here we go with the alternative geology. For anyone watching the video version, yes, babes, those are blue crystals on the table.
They are breathtaking. I am fully leaning into the soft girl studio era.
I can see that.
These specific blue crystals are manifesting ocean energy. They are bringing peace, they are radiating calmness, and they are setting the ultimate soft girl vibes for the season. I can literally feel the energetic shift in the room. The air feels lighter.
I will maintain my professional skepticism, but I will play along with the premise. If we are officially utilizing crystalline structures to manipulate our reality, I need to understand the mechanics of this operation.
Okay, ask away.
What crystals do we actually need for our lives? Do you have one for manifesting sugar daddies? Because if there is a geo that will automatically pay my property taxes, I will gladly place it on my nightstand.
I can definitely source a crystal for abundance. A nice piece of citrine is perfect for attracting wealth.
Noted.
But we also need to be manifesting peace and, frankly, manifesting sponsorships. Maybe a nice green aventurine for financial growth and brand deals.
I will accept a rock the size of a toaster if it secures a luxury automotive sponsor. But realistically, looking at the state of the world and our daily syllabus of reality TV disasters, at this point we probably need a crystal specifically for surviving adulthood.
Honestly, yes.
Just a massive slab of raw quartz to absorb the psychic damage of reading the daily news cycle.
I fully believe in the crystal energy. Okay, I am protecting my peace, but unfortunately, there is an absolute absence of peace in the Bravo universe today.
An utter void of peace.
If there is anyone who needs an ocean energy crystal right now, it is someone whose entire financial foundation is collapsing in real time. We have to open the Beverly Hills ledger.
Let us dive into Section 1.
Because the Dorrit and PK Kemsley situation has escalated from a separation to an absolute bloodbath of bank accounts, blindsides, and cult accusations.
The dissolution of the Kemsley marriage provides a stunning look at the sheer delusion of Beverly Hills wealth management. The court filings are public, and they are painting a drastically different picture than the curated Instagram feeds.
Okay, the legal documents leaked, and PK threw a massive grenade into the public discourse. He filed court accusations claiming that Dorrit spent $1 million on luxury clothes and travel during their messy divorce.
A staggering figure.
Let that number sink in. $1 million. I gasped so loud I scared my dog. But Dorrit immediately went on extra TV to clarify her side of the ledger.
As one does.
She looked directly into the camera and said, yes, she buys designer clothes, but she uses her money, not his.
This specific defense mechanism is fascinating from a legal standpoint. Let's analyze the his money versus her money argument.
Yeah, how does that actually work?
Well, they reside in California, which is a strict community property state. The mechanics of this mean that any income earned by either spouse during the marriage, whether it's his real estate ventures or her Bravo paycheck and brand deals, is legally considered a shared asset.
Wait, so her going on national television and loudly proclaiming, I spend my own money, actually means nothing in family court?
Precisely. Claiming it's my money while they're still legally married and fighting over a mountain of debt is legally murky at best. It's a PR defense, not a legal defense.
That is wild.
The court will look at the entire estate. If she drained $1 million from communal resources while the marital debts were compounding, a judge will absolutely factor that into the final settlement.
And the debts are astronomical. This is where the story gets incredibly dark. Dorrit claimed on camera that she had absolutely no idea PK wasn't paying the mortgage on their mansion.
Right.
She said she was completely blindsided by the foreclosure and literally found out right before the public did. My jaw hit the floor.
I find her timeline of ignorance extremely difficult to swallow. The mechanics of real estate foreclosure are not swift or silent. When a homeowner stops paying the mortgage, the bank doesn't just quietly seize the property in the middle of the night.
Exactly. That's what I'm screaming. You don't just wake up one Tuesday and find a for auction sign on your lawn.
There is a rigorous, legally mandated timeline. The bank sends certified mail. They issue a formal notice of default after 90 days of missed payments.
90 days.
If it remains unresolved, they issue a notice of trustee sale. The foreclosure intent is published in local newspapers. Furthermore, the minute a notice of default is filed with the county recorder, the property becomes public record.
So everyone knows.
Their mailbox would have been flooded with aggressive letters from real estate investors and bankruptcy attorneys offering cash for keys or foreclosure defense.
But you are telling me she intercepted 0 pieces of mail. She never saw a single certified letter.
Highly unlikely.
She says they had an agreement when they separated that things would remain status quo, and he simply never communicated that he stopped writing the checks. But the audacity of a husband to silently stop paying the mortgage and let his family's physical shelter go to a public home auction is wild.
It implies a profound compartmentalization of their lives. But to circle back to the first point, to be aggressively purchasing high fashion and luxury travel while your physical shelter is progressing through the stages of foreclosure is the absolute definition of priority inversion.
Priority inversion, yes. She even admitted to Extra TV, quote, "Do I spend a lot of money on expensive clothes? Yes. It is my choice."
It's delusional.
How do you justify dropping 50 grand on a new wardrobe when the bank is literally coming for your roof? The delusion is staggering. But Dorrit is trying to spin the narrative. She announced her new book, Unburdened, releases June 2nd, and she promises a big surprise about how their separation discussion actually happened.
Ah, the classic reality star pivot, monetizing the trauma through a hardcover publishing deal.
Totally.
It is highly strategic. She knows the court filings make her look financially reckless, so she is attempting to get out ahead of the litigation by controlling the narrative in a controlled medium where she can curate her victimhood.
But the people I actually feel sick for are the kids. Dorrit revealed that PK refuses to have any kind of relationship or communication with her right now. And because he won't speak to her, it is severely impacting his dynamic with kids, Jagger, who is 12, and Phoenix, who is 10. I am devastated for those kids.
It is the inevitable collateral damage of a high-conflict public split. When the adults utilize silence and stonewalling as a weapon against each other, the infrastructure of co-parenting completely collapses. The children become casualties of the ego war.
It's just so sad. But the Kemsleys aren't the only ones in Beverly Hills dealing with collapsing financial houses of cards. We need to examine the Erika Jayne situation because the statistical probability of her recent legal luck is practically miraculous.
Yes, the Erika Jayne settlement is fascinating.
I am so exhausted by the endless Erika Jayne legal saga, but this update is massive. Just days, literally days before her massive $25 million federal trial was set to begin regarding the lawsuit from the trustee of Tom Girardi's defunct law firm she settled.
Which is incredibly suspicious timing and requires us to look at the mechanics of civil litigation.
Break it down for us.
The bankruptcy trustee has been pursuing her relentlessly for years, alleging she utilized millions of dollars from the firm's operational accounts, money that allegedly belonged to victims and clients, to support her pop star vanity project and her extravagant lifestyle.
Right, the glam squad, the private jets, the music videos. And a judge was just informed at a pretrial conference that the entire case is settled. The settlement amount is completely hidden.
Of course it is.
It's totally confidential, but the formal request to dismiss the case is due by May 26th.
The strategy of settling on the courthouse steps is usually driven by the fear of discovery. A public trial would require her to take the stand under oath, subject to aggressive cross-examination regarding exactly what she knew about her husband's finances and when she knew it.
And she does not want that on the record.
Exactly. By settling confidentially, she prevents any further financial disclosures from entering the public record.
And meanwhile, her estranged husband, Tom, is currently sitting in a federal facility serving a 7-year prison term for defrauding vulnerable clients out of over $15 million.
A stark contrast.
And the wildest part is, this isn't even the only legal victory for Erika this week. Marco Morante, the designer who sued her, is dropping his lawsuit against her too. It's like the Red Sea is suddenly parting for her legal team.
Yes, her personal legal horizon is clearing, but if you look at the broader financial ecosystem surrounding her, it gets intensely fascinating. Attorney Ronald Richards pointed out a massive discrepancy this week.
Oh, what did he say?
While Erika's legal troubles are vanishing, her rumored financial benefactor, Jim Wilkes, is experiencing a total catastrophic financial collapse.
Oh my God, the details on Jim Wilkes are insane. He's allegedly facing foreclosure on his own $5 million home in Tampa.
Correct.
He is being sued over a $1.6 million business loan default. And the cherry on top? He's facing a subpoena regarding the improper use of $4.4 million in federal COVID relief funds.
The timing cannot be ignored. The man allegedly funding her lifestyle and legal defense is suddenly drowning in debt defaults and federal subpoenas, right at the exact moment she miraculously finds the capital to settle a $25 million lawsuit.
Make it make sense.
The flow of money in this particular circle of Beverly Hills requires an FBI flowchart to understand.
It is a carousel of grifting. How do you escape the biggest lawsuit of your life while the guy allegedly paying your bills gets hit with a COVID relief subpoena? It is way too much mess for one zip code.
It really is.
And all of this real-world legal drama is heavily shifting the cast dynamics. Producer Alex Baskin had to do an interview to completely shut down the rampant rumors that Dorrit was being put on pause for season 16.
The on-pause terminology is a Bravo's favorite corporate euphemism. It is a soft firing.
Yeah, just putting them on ice.
It allows the network to remove a cast member without the finality of a termination, keeping them on the hook in case they need to bring them back for a future cameo. But Baskin denying it means the network recognized the goldmine of Dorrit's foreclosure and divorce. She is absolutely going to be the anchor storyline.
Exactly. They aren't going to fire her when her life is exploding. Meanwhile, Crystal Kung-Minkoff completely denied rumors she was returning. Which brings us to the newbie, Amanda Francis.
Ah, the self-proclaimed money queen. A fascinating case study in reality TV miscalculations.
Totally. Amanda confirmed she hasn't been formally asked back yet. She went on record explaining that filming the show took up an entire year of her life and required way too much psychological space.
I'm sure it did.
She said she couldn't even focus on running her actual business because the show was so draining, which honestly is totally valid. The veteran women ripped her to absolute shreds.
It's the classic rookie mistake we see every season. High-level entrepreneurs and business owners often believe that because they can control a corporate boardroom or a marketing team, they can control the reality TV narrative.
They think they can outsmart the producers.
Exactly. They try to apply corporate synergy to Bravo, but reality television thrives on irrational chaos. She was completely ill-equipped for the sheer volume of unpredictable, weaponized conflict.
Especially the moment Bozoma St. John turned on her and accused her of starting a cult.
Yes, that was the kill shot.
I know. How do you even issue a PR response to a cult accusation on your very first season? But the most insane plot twist just happened for Amanda. Pop superstar Rihanna, yes, literal billionaire global icon Rihanna, slid into Amanda's Threads DMs.
Which is just surreal.
Rihanna messaged her saying, quote, no HRE, no quitting. You're going to have your redemption. I promise you, we need more of you. I completely lost my mind when I saw the screenshot. Rihanna actively watches Bravo.
I find the power dynamics of this interaction incredibly sarcastic and deeply amusing. Consider the position of Bozoma St. John.
Oh, true.
Bozoma went out of her way to brand Amanda a cult leader, establishing herself as the dominant alpha and the intellectual superior of the season. She effectively neutralized Amanda. And then suddenly, a global icon with infinitely more cultural capital than Bozoma utilizes social media back channels to endorse the exact woman Bozoma tried to destroy.
The hierarchy just entirely flipped based on a single direct message. If Rihanna tells you to come back to the Real Housewives, you sign the contract, you put on your best diamonds, and you get back in the ring. You don't quit when Rihanna says you have potential.
It's an undeniable mandate.
But listen, the cross-country Housewives mess doesn't stop in Beverly Hills.
No.
We have to travel to Section 2. Because when it comes to pure, unadulterated friendship betrayal, we have to look at Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City is our greatest active case study in rapidly deteriorating alliances.
The tectonic plates of these alliances are literally shifting beneath our feet.
The foundational structure of that cast has always been highly unstable, built on secrets and religious trauma. But Meredith Marks teaming up with Lisa Barlow, that defies the established laws of Bravo physics.
It really does. The timeline of this fallout is wild. So, rumors hit the internet that Bronwyn Newport and her boyfriend Brandon Good allegedly split up.
Okay.
Within hours of the rumor breaking, Lisa Barlow, who has been openly feuding with Bronwyn, immediately posts a cryptic message on her Instagram story. She wrote, "Get Brandon's side of the story because I've already heard her lies."
Bold move.
And then, mere minutes later, Meredith Marks quickly reposted Lisa's story to her own page.
We have to analyze the magnitude of this digital action. Lisa and Meredith agreeing on anything is a generational Halley's Comet level event.
Literally.
They have spent the last 3 seasons actively, maliciously dismantling each other's characters and businesses. For them to suddenly form a unified front and coordinate an Instagram attack means Bronwyn has done something so universally offensive to their sensibilities that they completely put aside years of toxic bad blood.
I am dying to know what Brandon's side of the story actually is. If Lisa Barlow is out here caping for your ex-boyfriend, the tea has to be nuclear.
It has to be.
And apparently the bleeding hasn't stopped there. Bronwyn is also fiercely feuding with the new girl, Brittany Bateman, going into season 7. Bronwyn is fighting a multi-front war right now.
It is terrible tactical positioning for a sophomore cast member. If you alienate the powerful veterans while simultaneously attacking the new blood, you isolate yourself on an island. You become the easiest target for the production edit because you have 0 allies to film transitional scenes with.
That makes so much sense. But let's look at the East Coast, because New York and Rhode Island are facing their own internal infrastructure shakeups.
Let's pivot to the East.
Yes, Real Housewives of New York is finally coming back. Jessel Tank did a press interview saying season 16 feels totally different for her. She says she is way more secure, confident, and authentic now that she's survived her first season.
That's the sophomore confidence bump.
She's returning alongside Erin Leachy, Sigh De Silva, 3 brand new housewives, and returning legend Carol Radziwill.
The return of Carol Radziwill is a desperate but brilliant strategic move by the production company. The rebooted New York cast was flashy, but it fundamentally lacked the historical gravitas and the sharp journalistic observational wit of the original era.
Oh, totally. They needed a grounding force.
Bringing Carol back bridges the gap between the old guard of wealthy Manhattan eccentricities and the new era of downtown influencers. But more importantly, let's talk about the Real Housewives of Rhode Island, because the level of meddling happening there is unprecedented.
The Rhode Island mess is so dark and so invasive. Joellen Tiberi claimed on a podcast that her co-star, Rula Pontarelli's husband, Brian, didn't just have a casual one-night fling.
It was much more structured than that.
She went into devastating detail. She said Brian actually gave his mistress a, quote, ring. He met her entire family, and they were fully in love during their 2.5-year affair. Joellen says she actually saw them together in public, and that Brian even went so far as to show the mistress fake divorce papers to prove he was leaving his wife. Joellen is out here claiming the mistress was taken advantage of just as much as Rula was.
I have to sarcastically applaud Joellen's terrifying commitment to the bit. She actually told the podcast host that she should send Rula an invoice for her private detective services because she gathered all this marital intelligence for free.
She actually said that.
Yes, it's an incredible, almost pathological level of meddling. But structurally, it exposes the devastating reality of these ensemble shows. The moment a marriage shows a microscopic crack, a castmate will eagerly drive a bulldozer right through it just to secure their spot on the next season.
I am just sick for Rula. Imagine going on national television to show off your life and finding out your husband of decades wasn't just cheating, but living a complete methodical double life.
It's chilling.
Meeting another woman's family, buying her jewelry, faking legal documents. I am appalled by Brian, truly disgusted. But wait, the fake storylines aren't just in Rhode Island. If we look down in Atlanta, the sugar daddies are very real, but the cast storylines are totally fabricated.
Atlanta is currently giving us a masterclass in metadrama. We have 2 parallel tracks of chaos running simultaneously.
Break them down for me.
First, we have the unending Kim Zolciak and Croy Bierman financial doom loop, but now it has expanded to include secondary characters in the legal crossfire.
Right, so Kim has a new boyfriend, Kyle Malovitz. And Kyle is currently fighting back in court against his own estranged wife, Jillian Green.
The plot thickens.
Jillian is claiming in legal filings that Kyle is blowing his massive $100 million trust fund on Kim. She claims he is paying Kim's Atlanta rent, covering her mounting legal fees, and basically acting like the second coming of Big Papa.
Which is a beautiful, deeply poetic, historical callback to the early Atlanta seasons, I must admit. The ghost of Big Papa haunts the franchise.
It totally does. Thank you, Big Papa. But Kyle filed his own court documents, claiming Jillian's narrative is totally false. He says Jillian is actually the one racking up crazy credit card debt, citing a specific charge of $2,300 on a single hotel room.
A classic deflection tactic in divorce court.
And while Kim's new man fights his wife over his trust fund, Kim is still endlessly battling Croy for custody of their minor children. It is a sprawling disaster. But inside the actual filming of the Atlanta cast, K. Michelle is pulling back the curtain and exposing the fourth wall.
Which is always a highly dangerous but thrilling maneuver for the audience. K. Michelle, who completely understands how the sausage is made from her years on Love and Hip Hop, claims that veterans Drew Sidora and Portia Williams actively colluded off-camera to produce a fake storyline against her.
Yes. K. Michelle says they plotted to set her up, trying to make it seem like she was romantically involved with Drew's friend Black on camera.
Let's break down the mechanics of this setup. Drew and Portia are veterans. They know that to survive a season, you need a central conflict, but they desperately want to protect their own messy personal lives from scrutiny.
So they deflect.
Exactly. They self-produce, they invent a low-stakes romantic scandal and try to pin it on the new girl, but they severely underestimated K. Michelle's structural understanding of reality TV.
You cannot produce a producer.
Precisely. She saw the scaffolding of the setup, identified the cameras, and blew it up from the inside.
K. Michelle got wind of the plot, shut it down while the cameras were rolling to ruin the footage, and then got into a massive, nasty Twitter feud with Portia, calling them cowards for not showing their real lives.
It's brilliant defensive reality TV playing.
But the fans are coming for K. Michelle in the wildest, most disrespectful ways online. During a recent interview, K. Michelle opened up about her 2013 relationship with massive A-list movie star Idris Elba. She dated him for 8 solid months.
And the public reaction was quite telling.
Nobody believed her back then. Charlemagne at God even joked on the radio that Idris loving K. Michelle was like turning wine into arbor mist.
Which is a brutally elitist and fundamentally flawed comparison that highlights the intense misogynoir she was facing at the time.
I felt so defensive of K. Michelle when I heard that quote resurface. Why insult her like that? K. Michelle is now happily married to Dr. Costanza Sims, but she pointed out that Idris never once denied her, and her biggest selling album is literally entirely about him. She was deeply hurt that the media and the public treated her like she was somehow unworthy of a Hollywood actor.
It reveals a deeply ingrained prejudice regarding the societal caste system of entertainment. The public views reality stars, particularly black women on reality television, as a lower caste.
Right, like they're less than.
The media assumed that someone with Idris Elba's prestigious British A-list pedigree would never genuinely engage with the chaotic world of love and hip-hop. K. Michelle rightfully felt the sting of that hierarchy. It wasn't just a joke about her dating life, it was a societal judgment on her worth.
That is so true. It's so unfair. But speaking of shifting hierarchies, let's pivot to Section 3, Bravo real estate shakeups and the absolute corporate panic happening behind the scenes.
Let's get into the real estate.
We absolutely have to talk about Selling Sunset because the firings are brutal, the cast is shrinking, and the shade being thrown in the press is vicious. It was heavily reported this week that Chelsea Lascani, Sandra Vergara, Mary Bonnet, and Emma Hernan were out for Season 10.
A massive sweeping purge of the talent pool. You rarely see a network gut half the cast of a flagship show unless the contract negotiations completely flatline.
Right. But Emma Hernan immediately posted on Instagram from a beach in Turks and Caicos to clarify the narrative. She claims she was not fired.
Naturally.
She says she is simply stepping back, deciding not to live in L.A. full-time, and choosing to focus on her relationship with Blake Davis and her empanada business in Florida.
Her empanada business.
Right. Sure, Jan. We all believe you. But the real mess is coming from Bray Teasy. TMZ ambushed Bray at the airport, and she gleefully, with a massive unbothered smile, said she will absolutely not miss Chelsea Lascani.
Bray is ruthless.
Bray looked directly into the camera and said, "Wish her the best. Good luck with that, as long as it's not here."
I have to admire the absolute sub-zero chilliness of that quote. Bray operates with zero media training and total authenticity. She doesn't care about the PR optics of playing nice.
She really doesn't.
But the larger, much more vital story for the survival of Selling Sunset is the announcement that Heather Ray El Moussa and the ultimate undeniable villain, Christine Quinn, are returning to the agency.
I am living for the petty airport shade from Bray,
Well,
but I am screaming at the top of my lungs about the return of Christine Quinn.
from a purely mechanical perspective, Selling Sunset was dying on the vine. The recent seasons devolved into a show about mildly successful real estate agents having circular, exhausting arguments about tone policing and microaggressions.
That's so boring.
The stakes were non-existent. They desperately needed an apex predator back in the ecosystem. Christine Quinn provides the exact high-octane villain energy required to restart the engine of that franchise.
She brings the impossible fashion, the ruthless drama, and the absolute unwavering delusion. The show needs her.
It absolutely does.
But speaking of real estate, we actually have a rare happy ending over in Vanderpump Rules. Ariana Madix finally, officially, and permanently closed the sale on the house she shared with Tom Sandoval.
That is a massive legal victory.
She gave an interview saying, "The war has ended, the court partition sale finally went through, and the massive check is going straight to her account so she can invest it elsewhere."
We need to explain the agonizing legal journey of this house because it wasn't a simple sale. When two unmarried individuals own a property together, they usually hold it as joint tenants.
Okay, what does that mean in practice?
When the relationship implodes, if one party, in this case, Sandoval, refuses to sell or refuses to buy the other out at fair market value, you cannot simply call a realtor and list it. You have to sue them.
Right.
Ariana had to file a formal partition action. This forces a court-ordered appraisal, the appointment of a legal referee, and eventually a public sale. It takes years and drains equity through legal fees. Forcing the court to liquidate the asset was her only play to sever that final financial tether.
And it took such incredible endurance on her part, like the emotional toll of living in that house. I celebrate her energetic release of that cursed, depressing modern farmhouse. Get your check and run, Ariana.
Truly.
And while she's thriving on Broadway, former Summer House star Hannah Berner just dropped the trailer for her Hulu comedy special, None of My Business. She filmed it in a massive theater in Toronto. It just proves she's come such an incredibly long way from the cast isolating her and calling her a reality TV bedbug.
I sarcastically applaud Hannah's trajectory. She successfully executed the rarest of all Hollywood maneuvers. She pivoted from the toxic sludge of a Bravo cancellation to actual legitimate streaming success as a touring stand-up comedian.
It's an amazing comeback.
She took the hatred from her final season, repackaged it, and monetized her own cancellation. It's a brilliant career pivot.
But Bravo executives are not laughing right now because they are in a state of full-blown corporate panic over reunion security. Babes, following the catastrophic Summer House Season 10 audio leak, the network has initiated a full-scale security crackdown for all reunion tapings.
This is fascinating.
They are literally treating these sound stages like high-security federal facilities.
As a case study in corporate IP protection, this is a necessary escalation. That Summer House audio leak didn't originate from the talent. It came from a production staffer in the control room.
Right.
That leak destroyed the monetization strategy of the actual broadcast because the climax of the season, the exact argument they spent months teasing, was distributed for free on social media weeks before air. The network had to respond with overwhelming force to protect their ad revenue.
Overwhelming force is putting it mildly. The Real Housewives of Rhode Island's Season 1 reunion was the very first cast to experience this new lockdown protocol. We are talking actual metal detectors at the studio doors.
Metal detectors?
Yes. Security guards doing wand scans and full physical pat-downs. And mandatory phone confiscations for everyone in the building. The cast, the publicists, the network execs, and the entire glam squad.
It's extreme, but I get it.
I am laughing so hard just picturing the logistics of this.
Yeah.
Imagine these women showing up at 6 a.m. in 50-pound sequin couture gowns, dragging 10 feet of tulle, and getting a TSA-style pat-down from a Bravo security guard just to make sure they aren't hiding an iPhone in their Spanx.
It sounds absurd, but it is entirely necessary protocol. When your entire business model relies on the suspense architecture of withholding information until a specific Thursday night broadcast, an unreleased audio file is a direct existential threat to the company.
That's true.
Confiscating the phones of the glam squads is particularly astute. Historically, the makeup artists and hairstylists are the leakiest sieve in the Bravo ecosystem because they hear everything and aren't bound by the same million-dollar NDAs as the talent.
Oh, the glam squad knows everything.
Yeah.
It is absolute madness on that set. But honestly, not as mad as the delusional reality TV crossovers happening right now in Section 4. Babes, Spencer Pratt, the man we all love to hate, is running for mayor of Los Angeles.
We have officially crossed the Rubicon. The simulation is breaking down. Reality has collapsed in on itself.
I am deeply unwell over this news. Former Real Housewives of Miami star Joanna Krupa went on Fox News and publicly endorsed Spencer Pratt for mayor of LA.
Joanna Krupa endorsing Spencer Pratt. Let that sink in.
Right. Spencer, who we all know is the ultimate crystal-obsessed villain from the hills, lost his home in the Palisades fires and decided to launch a mayoral bid. He is running on conservative policies, and get this, he's relying entirely on AI-generated social media ads to run his campaign.
Now, remaining completely neutral on the political spectrum and the specific policies, because we are analyzing this strictly through the lens of reality television architecture, the sheer audacity of this strategy is staggering.
It is wild. Joanna Krupa claims that current city officials are embezzling billions of taxpayer dollars, and that Spencer Pratt is the only candidate who actually cares about the homeless population on Skid Row. Heather Dubrow from Orange County is also officially backing him.
The crossover no one asked for.
I cannot wrap my mind around this timeline. This is a man who literally bankrupted himself and his wife Heidi buying thousands of dollars worth of healing crystals because he thought the world was ending, and now he wants to manage the municipal budget of one of the largest economies on the planet.
It highlights the deeply alarming intersection of celebrity influence and civic duty. When a populace becomes entirely frustrated with traditional governance, name recognition, even notorious, infamous name recognition, becomes a viable political asset.
Even if he was the villain.
Especially if he was the villain. Spencer Pratt understands the mechanics of the attention economy better than almost anyone alive. He built a lucrative career on being universally despised by the MTV audience, translating that specific brand of villainy into a disruptive political campaign using AI advertising, which can generate thousands of hyper-targeted, enraging ad variations per minute, is both terrifying and a darkly brilliant understanding of modern media consumption.
It is the ultimate snark. I just keep picturing him holding a giant piece of amethyst at a city council meeting shouting at the zoning board. But speaking of completely unhinged public appearances designed for attention, Lisa Rinna debuted a shocking new look at the Cannes Film Festival Amphar Gala.
Let us discuss the visual aesthetics of desperation.
It was so bad, I felt a wave of secondhand embarrassment wash over me. She showed up on the red carpet in a multicolored Germanier couture gown, but the hair. She wore a massive, towering, teased platinum blonde bouffant. The bouffant.
Yeah.
The fans online were ruthless. They were literally comparing her to a cartoon character from the Hunger Games capital or a vintage Phyllis Diller. It was chaotic energy.
When you no longer have the massive weekly platform of a Housewives franchise to command attention and drive your personal brand, you have to continually escalate your visual presentation to remain relevant in the paparazzi algorithm.
So she just goes bigger and crazier.
Exactly. That bouffant wasn't a fashion choice. It was a calculated distress flare. It was designed specifically to generate the exact kind of viral commentary we are giving it right now. She traded elegance for engagement.
Well, it definitely worked, but at what cost to my retinas? Meanwhile, someone who actually knows how to handle the PR of luxury brands is Bethany Frankel. Bethany officially ended her 2-year digital feud with Chanel. You remember Chanel Gate?
Vividly. She was denied entry into a Chicago boutique in 2024 because she arrived without an appointment, and she subsequently launched a scorched earth, multi-platform digital campaign against the brand's elitism and poor customer service.
Right. She made it her entire personality for months. But cut to this week. Bethany walks right into a Chanel store in Panama City, completely without an appointment, admires a flashy new bag on the shelf, films it for her Instagram, and loudly declares, "The war has ended." I'm dying laughing over the hypocrisy of this.
It is a perfect crystalline encapsulation of Bethany's personal ideology. She initially framed the Chicago denial as a broad class struggle, positioning herself as a populist fighting against corporate elitism on behalf of the common everyday consumer.
Yeah, she was like the Robin Hood of designer bags.
But the exact moment she's allowed to look at a shiny leather good in Central America without a hassle, her populist crusade instantly evaporates. The feud was never about the principle of retail accessibility. It was entirely about her personal ego being bruised in Chicago. The war ends the precise second she gets her VIP treatment back.
Classic Bethany. Just throwing a massive, highly produced internet tantrum until a sales associate finally hands her a quilted handbag. But let's move away from luxury bags and talk about deeply toxic men. On the Valley, the edits are getting progressively darker.
It's becoming very difficult to watch.
Teddy Mellencamp called out Nia Sanchez Bucco on her podcast, severely questioning Nia's reaction to her husband Danny Bucco's horrific behavior this season.
Danny Bucco is experiencing a precipitous, unrecoverable fall from grace in the eyes of the audience. The cameras have documented him speaking down to his wife, sighing aggressively when asked to help with his own newborn infant, and generally acting like an entitled, petulant adolescent while she struggles with postpartum.
Watching him on screen makes me want to scream at my television. But Teddy raised a really interesting point. She questioned if Nia is actually embarrassed by how Danny is treating her behind closed doors, or if Nia is just embarrassed by the fact that he's getting a villain edit on national TV.
That is the operative question.
Tamra Judge even chimed in and admitted she likes Janet Caperna again, simply because Janet saw through Danny's nice guy act early on.
It points to a fascinating psychological defense mechanism on Nia's part. When your spouse behaves abominably on camera, the immediate instinct for a reality star is often to blame the production company.
Always blaming the edit.
They blame the editing, the context, or the producers, rather than addressing the actual marital rot occurring in their home. Teddy is correctly identifying that Nia's highly protective, defensive posture online is entirely about brand management and protecting their influencer income rather than demanding marital accountability from her husband.
It's pure self-preservation. But in a very rare twist of actual genuine positivity in the Bravo workplace over on Southern Hospitality, we completely thought Michaels Peña was getting fired.
The fake-out was very well produced.
He received this ominous email about transitioning out of his assistant general manager role at Republic. He was literally crying in the alley with Maddie Reese.
But the reality of the situation was entirely different, which is a structural rarity for the management style typically showcased on this network.
Leva Bonaparte didn't demote him at all. She actually created a brand new custom position for him with way more autonomy. She took him off the grueling Thursday to Saturday late-night weekend grind so he can actually pursue his professional modeling career and travel, while still staying employed with the company.
It is the absolute antithesis of the toxic, exploitative management styles we usually observe in reality TV restaurants. To see a business owner actively accommodate an employee's outside career aspirations by restructuring their role to fit their life, it is almost confusing to watch.
It is.
The audience is so deeply conditioned by years of Lisa Vanderpump and Gordon Ramsay to expect workplace exploitation that a healthy, supportive promotion feels like a massive plot twist.
I know. I was sitting there waiting for the other shoe to drop, waiting for the catch. But I am so genuinely happy for Michaels. Good for him. But speaking of shoes dropping, we have to move into our final section, TLC, divorces, and competition show cancellations. Because the reality TV landscape is burning to the ground across every single network today.
Let us examine the sprawling debris field of the 90-Day Fiancé universe.
Patrick Mendez officially filed for divorce from Thais Ramon after 4 years of marriage. He is asking the court for sole legal and primary physical custody of their 3-year-old daughter, Elise.
That is going to be a brutal battle.
He specifically noted in the filing that he makes $10,000 a month, while she only makes $5,000. So he is officially requesting that neither party pay child or spousal support, which is deeply sad. Custody battles over toddlers break my heart. But the details of the asset division, I cannot handle this.
This is where the legal documentation transitions from tragedy to high comedy. The dissolution of a marriage is sad, yes. But the itemized legal documentation of asset division provides an unparalleled window into the petty depths of the human soul.
He is specifically asking the judge to award him their Honda Ridgeline truck, an $8,000 Fidelity 401k, and their Tempur-Pedic mattress, a used foam mattress, listed in official court-stamped legal divorce filings.
Let's break down the sheer, unadulterated pettiness of this legal request.
Mm-hmm.
You are a man earning $120,000 a year. You are currently engaged in a high-stakes, highly emotional legal battle for the primary custody of a human child.
Right.
And yet, amidst all of that, you specifically instruct your family law attorney, whom you are likely paying upwards of $400 an hour, to formally draft a request for the retention of a depreciated used foam mattress.
It is unhinged.
The psychological need to legally deprive your soon-to-be ex-wife of ergonomic lumbar support is staggering. It is the purest definition of spite.
It is so incredibly petty. You make 10 grand a month, Patrick. Go to a mattress store and buy a new bed. Leave the used foam alone. But the intense pettiness continues over in the Teen Mom universe. Janelle Evans is publicly feuding with her estranged sister Ashley again.
A tale as old as time. The Evans family dynamic is a perpetual motion machine of generational dysfunction.
But this time the drama involves the kids, which sends me into a complete spiral. Ashley went online and revealed that Janelle's OnlyFans content is actively getting her teenage nephews bullied at their local high school.
Oh, that is incredibly damaging.
The kids' peers are finding the explicit paywalled photos, downloading them, and taunting the nephews in the hallways. Ashley begged Janelle to stop posting, saying she physically gags when she sees the photos floating around the internet.
It highlights the unforeseen, deeply damaging collateral damage of the modern creator economy. When a public figure chooses to monetize highly explicit content, they often fail to account for the digital footprint's impact on their extended family's local ecosystem.
Especially high schoolers.
High school teenagers are ruthless. Weaponizing an aunt's paywall content against a student is a horrifyingly modern, highly effective form of social currency and bullying.
It is so incredibly unfair to those boys. They didn't ask to be part of this. But instead of apologizing or hiding the content, Janelle just lashed back online, threatening that she's going to expose their mom, Barbara, for past secrets. It never ends with them. Meanwhile, Jade Klein is escaping the madness and moving her entire family from Indiana to Florida after selling all her properties.
Probably a wise geographical pivot.
She said she only stayed in Indiana out of guilt, but she wants a completely different, sunnier lifestyle for her daughter. Good for her. But Kale Lowry, the absolute brutal honesty coming from her podcast this week is shocking.
Kale Lowry's recent admissions are a masterclass in aggressive, unvarnished transparency.
She fully shaded V. Torres on her newest podcast episode. Kale openly admitted that she only launched the Baby Mama's No Drama podcast with V in the first place because she was greedy for money.
She said that out loud.
She literally sat on a microphone and said, "I did not care as long as I was making money. I need to make this money." She said she now deeply resents V and completely takes back all the nice things she ever said about her being a good stepmom to her son.
You have to step back and analyze the absolute audacity of that public confession. Podcasting in the reality television sphere is almost always cloaked in the pure guise of female empowerment or creating a safe space to share our truth.
It's always framed as a passion project.
Kale bypasses the PR spin entirely. She admits it was a pure, unadulterated cash grab. She partnered with her ex's current wife solely for the novelty monetization metrics, extracted the capital from the sponsors, and is now torching the bridge to generate viral clips for her new podcast. It is ruthlessly efficient capitalism.
It is so dark, but it is so honest. I'm spiraling over how cold that calculation is. But speaking of massive miscalculations, we have to talk about the live television meltdown that just happened on Survivor. During the massive Survivor 50 live finale broadcast, host Jeff Probst made a historic career-level blunder.
It was a fascinating failure of live television broadcast mechanics.
He accidentally revealed on live TV that Jonathan Young beat Rizo Velovich in the crucial fire-making challenge before the challenge had even aired on the screen. He totally spoiled the climax of his own show.
Oh, that is a catastrophic error.
The fans are absolutely furious online and are literally signing petitions to replace him with Jonathan LaPaglia, the guy who hosted Australian Survivor for 11 seasons.
Let's break down how a seasoned, Emmy-winning veteran like Jeff Probst commits a rookie error of this massive magnitude. Live television is a delicate high-wire act. You have a control room screaming time cues in your earpiece via the IFB, teleprompters adjusting on the fly, and the immediate, unpredictable energy of a live studio audience.
So there's just a million things happening at once.
Exactly. He likely looked at a monitor that cued a graphics package out of sequence, and his exhausted brain bypassed his internal filter. He read the result before the tape rolled. But the public reaction, the immediate vitriolic demand for his termination and replacement with the Australian host, shows exactly how little grace audiences afford legacy hosts once they break the illusion of control.
It was so incredibly cringe to watch his face drop when he realized what he just did on live television. But mentioning the Australian host brings me to my final devastating piece of news today. Network 10 in Australia officially canceled I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here Australia after 12 amazing, hilarious years.
That is a significant loss for the genre.
They issued a statement saying they're arresting the format, and hosts Julia Morris and Robert Irwin are moving on to other network projects. I am deeply mourning the loss of the Australian jungle.
The phrase "resting the format" is standard industry terminology for the production costs have ballooned and no longer justify the declining ratings.
Oh, so it's just about the money.
It always is. Shipping an entire cast of celebrities to a remote jungle in South Africa, maintaining a full live broadcast infrastructure in the wilderness, and paying for international satellite feeds is exorbitantly expensive. It marks the end of an era for a very specific, highly logistical type of grueling competition television.
It really does. I need a full moment of silence and maybe another massive sip of my McDonald's frappe to recover from all of this heavy news. Babes, thank you so much to the Snark Squad for hanging out and surviving this massive reality TV spiral with us today.
It was an incredible endurance test traversing gossip, real estate law, and family court filings.
We want to hear from you directly. Jump in the comments and tell us everything. What is your absolute favorite McDonald's drink? What are your actual thoughts on ordering heavy furniture online? Are you team convenience or team delivery drivers? Which crystal do we desperately need most in the studio right now? And of course, what was your favorite reality TV mess this week?
And as always, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It appeases the algorithm and ensures we can continue to document this madness.
Stay messy, stay delusional, and we will see us on the Snark side.